Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Hello, I'm Elisabeth with the San Diego Council on Literacy, filling in for Jose Cruz today. And I'm here with Emily Moberly, the founder of Traveling Stories. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you, Elisabeth. It's great to be here.
Hi, I think we had a little catch there. But thank you for joining us today. You're the founder of Traveling Stories, and can you share a little bit about Traveling Stories and how you got started with this and how it came to be?
Absolutely. Traveling Stories is a nonprofit that's based here in San Diego, and our entire goal is to get kids excited about reading, specifically by the fourth grade. And I got involved with Traveling Stories a long time ago, almost 10 years now. So I started the organization in 2010, and the background, I don't know about you, but when I was a little kid, reading was like my favorite activity, and books were my best friend.
Right.
And I kind of just assumed that was what every child had growing up. And then as I got older, I finished college, and I took a job as a teacher in Honduras. And it was there that I discovered that kids grow up sometimes without access to books. So I had students who were teenagers, and even though they were going to a pretty affluent school and they were learning English and, improving Spanish, and even though they were teenagers, they had never experienced reading for fun and had only had access to textbooks. So I got to bring a suitcase full of books that I thought my students would enjoy, and sure enough, slowly but surely, almost every single one of them found a book that they connected with and fell in love with it. And much like the influence books had on me, I got to watch how falling in love with reading really changed the lives of my students. It made them, curious about new things. It changed the direction of what they wanted to do for their careers. And so that inspired me to start Traveling Stories in 2010 with the goal of giving that same opportunity to children in more places.
Well, that sounds like wonderful work that you're doing. So the main mission, what age group are you really working to reach?
That's a great question. So Traveling Stories, even though the story started with teenagers, Traveling Stories now focuses on serving children who are 2 to 12 years old. And even though my inspiration came from an international experience, and Traveling Stories has had some international impact, right now Traveling Stories is focused on local impact. And I'm sure you're already aware of the literacy stats, but I was shocked when I learned that 82% of children in the U.S. in low-income neighborhoods cannot read proficiently by the fourth grade. And of those kids, 2/3 end up in jail or on welfare. So Traveling Stories really strives to connect with reluctant readers and help them fall in love with reading before they reach fourth grade, because studies also show that reading levels by the fourth grade are a major indicator of outcomes later in life.
Right. So can you share a little bit more about the international work that you were speaking about?
I can. I don't like to focus too much on it because none of our resources go there, but we do have 8 libraries around the world that we started. We developed a sort of like a mini library manual, or like a library in a box. And so our partners in those countries worked with us to establish small libraries in places where kids had never had access to books. And we trained our partners there on how to run the program and how to raise the money needed to keep it going. So those libraries are now self-sufficient. And it was really through that work that we got connected with other book lovers to fund what is now our priority, which is our Story Tent program, which is located across San Diego.
Right. So that sounds wonderful. What is your vision for Traveling Stories here in San Diego?
So my vision for Traveling Stories in San Diego might make more sense if I share a little bit more about what our story tents are, just for anyone who's not familiar.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Our story tents are they're kind of unique and special. There's lots of organizations that focus on education, and we're fortunate to get to partner with many of them. But what makes Traveling Stories a little bit different is that we have our program, which is a pop-up story tent at malls and farmers markets in neighborhoods with higher poverty rates and lower literacy rates. So right now we have 5 programs every weekend. Kids come to the story tent often with their older siblings or with their parents. They read books one-on-one with a volunteer. And it's really important that the kids get to pick out the books they want to read. We put a lot of emphasis on encouraging kids to explore their interests and to be able to express that through reading. So then kids read with volunteers, and then they negotiate for book bucks for every book they read. So, for example, if a child reads a picture book, they might get 1 book buck, but if they read a chapter book, they might negotiate that it's worth 10 or 15 because, it has lots of chapters and big words. And then with the book bucks, children can buy prizes, and we purposely have a wide variety of prizes. So we have a box full of small items like pencils or stickers for 1 book buck, and then we have a larger box full of bigger items like scooters or easy bake ovens or skateboards. Those have been really popular. Legos have been really popular. Those items could cost hundreds of book bucks. And in that process, so every time a kid comes to a story tent, they have to decide, am I going to spend my cash now?
Oh, wow, wonderful. Big decisions.
Yeah, or am I going to save and come back week after week and save it and get something bigger? And so right now, we're doing a great job of tracking the number of kids that we serve, the number of times they come back, and the amount of time they spend every time they visit. But, so my vision for Traveling Stories, though, is to become excellent at measuring the difference we make in a child's life and to inform our narrative and really strengthen our messaging so that we can expand story tents in communities, not just across San Diego, but really have San Diego be the leader of childhood literacy and the standard and kind of the example, and take that and use it to help us expand story tents into communities nationwide. Because really I want, let's say a minimum 100,000 kids to be able to visit a story tent in their neighborhood and fall in love with reading and, develop delayed gratification.
Right.
And all of that.
How can people find where you're going to be, these different story tents around San Diego?
So our story tents are in the same location every week. So we are at the City Heights Farmers Market every Saturday, the Vista Farmers Market every Saturday, Parkway Plaza in El Cajon every Sunday. We're at the Grossmont Center Mall in La Mesa every Sunday. And then we're normally at the IB, Imperial Beach Farmers Market, every Friday, but we take a break in the winter because it gets cold. Right. And then anytime, that we get funding to approve new locations, we update our website and our social media. Our website is travelingstories.org, and we're active on all the social medias. And that's, both of those are a good way to keep track of where our locations are.
Fantastic. So you're talking about measuring the work that you do. Is there any particular story or stories that you want to share?
Yeah, oh my gosh. It's hard to narrow it down, but I'll tell you some of my favorites. So,
yeah, sure. We could hear a couple. That would be wonderful.
Okay. Yeah, one of my favorite stories is about a young woman named Malika. She's now 13, but when she started coming to our story tent in City Heights, she was 5 years old. So Malika was born in Pakistan, I believe. And when she came to San Diego, she was about 2.5, 3 years old, and she had to learn English, and that was her 3rd language. So she remembers going to preschool and getting made fun of and being nervous because she didn't speak the language well. I know, right? It's such a different experience than my 3-year-old, my 3s and 4s. Mm-hmm. And so her dad is a vendor at the farmer's market, and that's how she came in contact with Traveling Stories. And it was actually my mom who she first bonded with. And so my mom would read with her every week, helping Malika find books that she liked. Malika really liked the Madeline series, about the little girl in France. And so they would read that same book and try to find more copies in the series. And by the time Malika was 5, she started learning how to read with my mom. And to this day, she'll tell you that my mom was the reason that she learned how to read. And so Malika kept coming to our story tent. She earned tons of money. She bought really cool prizes. She would help younger kids learn how to read. She ended up volunteering at some of our galas. And when she turned 13, she was, a little too old for the program, so she started asking if she could become a volunteer. But what I like have loved, I just feel so privileged to have the experience. I think what's super cool about that is that because of the story tent, I got to get to know this young girl, and I got to watch her grow, and I got to see how the story tent not only impacted her reading level, but also her sense of self, her identity, her confidence. Something that she said maybe about a year ago that has stuck with me. She had just started middle school, and she said, "You know what I love about the story tent?" She said, "At the story tent, there's a lot of people who are different. You know, they look different. We look different from each other. We speak different languages. We have different religions. But at the story tent, those are the things that make us bond. We realize, hey, you're different, I'm different. Like, we can be different together." And she said, at school, there's a lot of differences there too, but instead of bringing us together at school, it's something that we use to make fun of each other and to separate each other. And I just thought, you know what? She really identified something that I think is so special about traveling stories, and that it's so much more than reading, but it's this space every week in a community where people, no matter, you know, where they're from or what language you speak or what they believe, they can come together and be united through stories.
Right, and we'll be right back. We get to chat a little bit more right after this break.
Can you help a newborn baby in need? Sometimes the blessing of birth becomes complicated and perilous. Miracle Babies is there to help. Miracle Babies helps moms and dads give their all to their struggling little baby, but still need more. When you give to Miracle Babies, you help them give more. More skin-to-skin care, breast milk, and love. Go to miraclebabies.org and give right now. Be their miracle. Looking to be a successful entrepreneur? The virtual assistant industry continues to be a top choice for those looking to start their own business. The problem can be how to become a virtual assistant. Many turn to the Bible of the VA industry, the book Virtual Assistant, the series, and it's the perfect guide for office managers, executive assistants, and other administrative professionals looking to make the transition from employee to successful business owner. Go to vatheseries.com to get your copy today.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America's economy. Every Thursday, SBA Radio interviews industry professionals and is dedicated to provide small businesses with timely insights and innovations. Visit www.sbaradio.us for details.
Homeless veterans and their families are suffering and need our support, but many won't ask or don't know that help is within reach. Veterans Community Services is here to help. Amazingly, about 35% of the homeless in our neighborhoods are veterans with families. Low-income veterans or their friends are encouraged to contact Veterans Community Services and reach out for help with housing and other services. Call now, 800-974-9909.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
Can you imagine a world without children? A world where children don't play, or dream, or imagine.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're working every day to find cures for diseases that strike down children, because we can't imagine a world without children. Can you?
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. To learn how you can help, log on to our website, stjude.org.
Donate cash, furniture, clothes, and other gently used household items to Father Joe's Villages and get a nice tax break in April. Every donation is tax deductible. Believe you can make a difference. Be Father Joe. Go to neighborhood.org or call 1-800-HOMELESS to donate today.
Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Hi, this is Elisabeth standing in for Jose Cruz. I'm with the San Diego Council on Literacy, and I have Emily Moberly here who's the founder of Traveling Stories. Welcome back, Emily.
Thank you.
Thank you. You were sharing a story about a kid who has been coming to travel. Yeah, for a few years now. You said she started coming at 5 and is now 13, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right. So I know we got cut off a little bit at the end there, but you were talking a little bit how she was just sharing how she loves how that's a place where people come together, right?
Yeah. Someone was commenting that, she herself doesn't fit in necessarily, and at school, the students would use each other's differences as a way to make fun of each other. But she liked that the story tent was a place where there were just as many people who were different, but instead of making fun of each other, the story tent was a place where those differences brought people together. And I just love that story because, I think it's such a wise observation from such a young girl. But I forgot to mention that another cool fact about Malika, and one of the reasons I love that story, is when she started with us at 5 years old, she didn't know how to read. And then later, when she got to 4th grade, after coming to the story tent every week for multiple years, she took a test at school and was reclassified as an above proficient reader. And when she got that news, she was so excited that she came back to the story tent and literally ran around exclaiming, I've been reclassified. And her mom was so proud. And there's so many stories of children who come to the story tent, who connect with books, connect with volunteers. The volunteers are such an important part. And the children not only fall in love with reading, but they also become strong readers, which gives them so much pride. And we know from studies that it increases their chances of so many positive behaviors later on in life. So that's cool. But if we have time, there's one other quick story I wanted to share. Would that be okay?
We definitely have time. I think that'd be great.
Okay. Awesome. There's another story. A student, a little boy named Jamal, would come and read pretty often. And I noticed on one particular weekend at the story tent that Jamal had a stack of book bucks. And book bucks are those dollars that kids earn by reading books. And so he had read a lot of books. And it was kind of unusual for him to have so many saved because kids, normally struggle to save. And so I asked Jamal, what are you saving up for? And he looked down at his shoe, and I noticed that there was a piece of tape covering a hole by his big toe. And he looked up at me, and he said, it'd be super cool if I could use my book bucks to buy some new shoes. And I wanted to just cry because here you have this young boy, maybe 7 years old.
Right.
He should be saying, I want Legos, or I want a bicycle, or I want a basketball, not shoes. And so it took all the power in me not to just run down to a shoe store and fix that problem right then. But instead what we did, which I think is so much better, is we had a gift card the next week for a shoe store, and Jamal bought it. And then he ended up going shopping. He picked out the exact shoes he wanted, the color, just everything, the style. And then the next week he came back to the story tent wearing his new shoes. And his mom said that he loved them so much he hadn't taken them off all week.
How wonderful.
And isn't that just precious? And I love it because, a lot of times when, we do work in a lot of low-income neighborhoods, and it's possible for kids to get handouts or just to be kind of a victim of charity sometimes. But through Book Box and the Story Tent, we're helping kids learn, that they have the power to succeed on their own through hard work, and they can set goals, and they can accomplish those goals, and it's possible. And they learn that they can be powerful in their own life.
Right. And you were saying how Malika had said that it was a place where people can come together, and that's just another great way that's happening with the story tent and the kids in the community. So that's really wonderful. Do you have people donate to your items that the kids can earn?
We do. Yeah, we do. We, as you can imagine, with kids being able to buy prizes with their money, we must need a lot of prizes, especially since we're trying to have cool prizes that kids like. So we do a huge toy drive every winter, and we're actually in it right now. I think we have 40 companies involved this year, and I just heard that one of our partners, Parkway Plaza, was actually giving out free movie tickets to anyone who donated a toy at their location for Traveling Stories.
Fabulous.
So I don't know. Isn't that amazing? That's really cool. I think it's super cool to see how creative businesses get, when they want to encourage this season of giving. And it's always nice to be on the receiving end of that, obviously. But this year we're doing something a little different, too, because even though we do need prizes, we also still need financial donations to keep our programs going. It's one thing, to get all the prizes that are needed, but there's other expenses involved, like even if it's just the supplies, even if it's the insurance, which I know is less exciting, or we have our story tent coordinator, we have our volunteer coordinator, we have, different things that go into making sure that the program runs safely for kids and that it's there every single week and that it's consistent. So this year what we're inviting people to do is to collect toys, but also to collect some donations. Mm-hmm. And so a couple of our partners, the Sockers and Cali Comfort Barbecue, they heard about this and they said, we want to get involved and we want to help.
Great.
So this year, for the first time ever, any the company or group who raises the most money and gets the most toys for Traveling Stories will win a group party. They'll get 20 tickets to a Sockers game, and they'll get dinner from Cali Comfort Barbecue for all 20, all those 20 people. And then anyone who raises at least $600 and collects toys will get a special literacy award from Traveling Stories.
And what a great thing to be a part of during this season of giving. I think you're right about
and honestly,
that. Right.
Yeah, and hopefully, it doesn't have to be big. You don't have to be Parkway Plaza. You can be a family that just wants to help, maybe even just teach your kids in a really fun, experiential way what it means to give back. Like, it's something that we've seen some families do where they say, hey, I'm going to take my kids and we're going to go shopping and pick out toys that we think other kids would like. Or even having kids do some chores and, giving them the option of donating some of that, to a cause that they care about. And maybe it's not Traveling Stories. Of course, we hope it is. But I think philanthropy can be something, it can be a muscle that we exercise at any age. And maybe if we start exercising it at an early age, it'll be, I think there's so much joy that comes from giving. And if we can encourage some of that, that's awesome.
Right. I think you're absolutely right. So can people go onto your website to donate to this?
Yeah, absolutely. We take we try to make it pretty easy, so you can donate on our website at travelingstories.org. It is tax deductible. You can also donate by mailing a check. Our address is on our website. You can do stock donations. You can do in-kind donations. One thing I want to mention real fast, though, is a new campaign that we started just a little while ago. It's called 500 Features, and the idea is to encourage people to sign up for a monthly gift. $50 a month helps us empower better futures for 500 kids. So $50 a month goes towards sponsoring the program for different kids at the Story Tent. Right now, I think we have 26 or 27 kids sponsored through that. And if we can get to 200 people, sorry, there's a lot of numbers. Now I'm more of a reader than a number person, but our goal is to get 200 people to sign up, giving $50 a month, and that'll provide enough funding to sponsor the program and to sponsor weekly reading support for 500 kids.
Wow, and that's
so if anyone wants to be part of that, yeah.
And that's called 500 Futures, is that right?
Futures.
Wonderful.
Futures.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to, and it doesn't, if you're like, hey, $50, that's too small. Who knows? Maybe you're a money bag. You can definitely give more. Or maybe you're someone like me and you're like, well, that's a lot for me to pick off right away. Really, any dollar amount helps, whether it's a one-time gift or a monthly gift. But if you join our 500 Futures campaign and you give $50 a month, you do get a special gift and some special recognition.
Wonderful.
But all of that can be done on our website.
And are there ways that people can also, like you said, your mom has been a volunteer in the past.
Yeah.
So is there a way that people can get connected to be volunteers with you?
Absolutely. We do have a volunteer page on our website. I believe it's travelingstories.org/volunteer. It's pretty easy to find if it's not that. And we are always looking for volunteers for our Story Tent programs. We're also opening up some new volunteer opportunities in the office to help with things like sorting those prizes. We've got a lot of fun activities, some less fun, but very important. So people can definitely sign up to volunteer. I do believe, though, right now, because our volunteer coordinator or our director of outreach and partnerships, she's been so amazing at recruiting people, and people are having such a good time at the story tent that they keep signing up again and again.
Great.
So I think we might actually be booked up for a while.
All right.
But if we can, raise some more money, we can open up a new story tent, and then we'll have lots of shifts to fill.
That'd be wonderful. And it looks like we have just a few moments left. So just a reminder to check out your website at travelingstories.org to look at how to get involved in your wonderful work that you're doing in the community here in San Diego. And is there anything else you want to remind our listeners about before we sign off here?
No, I think you get to talk to one of my other team members next, and I'm sure she'll tell you even more about our toy drive. There's a couple of things that I've left out. But just, look us up online. Please reach out. We'd love to have more people connected with what we're doing. It's the only reason we're able to have impact. The more people who get involved, the more we can do.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com. Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com. Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.